That's okay.
Okay, so are we showing most of the stuff? Should I go into where we started, where we ended up, the very arduous process of character building?
I think
It's not,
as
it's
bad
not easy.
if you have the worst thing ever we started, I think it's better to show it.
Oh yeah, that's not a problem. I mean, I could
Yeah, the
definitely.
ugliest thing we ever thought about.
There was nothing ugly. Just there was a lot of back and forth. So I'm Mike Balyan. I'm the character artist, or one of the character artists. And when I was brought on board, when was it? About a year and a half ago? Year ago? No, it was more. It's been
More
more than
than a
two
year
two
and a half
years
ago.
2 years ago.
Yeah.
almost maybe. Okay, I guess my timeline's off.
We
Anyway,
physically met only half a year ago.
yes, this is true. So I'm originally born and raised in LA. It's where I learned my crafts more or less. And recently moved to Armenia back in last April. So it's been a little under a year. And well, I was brought on board specifically to do character work, which is kind of more or less the the load of what I do as a career in my life. So we didn't have too much research material in terms of Armenian centric soldiers from the 10th, 11th, or 12th centuries. It was, to say the least, really difficult to kind of come up with designs that were to life in real life, or what may or may not have been for that time period, because you kind of have to go off of maybe some other cultures that went to wars during the holy wars and whatnot, right? If anybody knows their history. So in terms of armor design, in terms of helmet design, anything to do with the character's exterior, um, we had to kind of put in a lot of time in figuring out how to come up with a design that makes sense, because we didn't want to go exaggerate, like, and again, let's all be honest, some of the Assassin's Creed stuff looks beautiful, but it's exaggerated. Everybody knows that. Maybe it works with certain time periods, but that's not what we were aiming to do. We wanted to make it authentic, just like the city of Ani, just like the homes, the blacksmiths, the characters, the outfits, everything. So we obviously are great research team. When I joined on, I was blown away with the amount of research that Henri briefly showed every single one of you guys. So we had to pick up from there and start making some designs. And now looking back on it, it does kind of look funny, man. I'm not gonna lie. um, yeah, hold on. Let me see where the first ones are. But all right, we can kind of go through some of this stuff and then just kind of. All right. So what I'll go ahead and do, I'll share my screen here. And these are just snapshots, and I'll show you guys the 3D, and I'll go into some of the head scans as well, and I'll touch on that in a second. But I don't think these are in order, Henri, but at least we can maybe go through the evolution of it. Perhaps? Okay, there we go. All right. So, let me share my screen. Okay. So, I believe this may or may not have been one of the first designs that we did. It's just funny looking at them
Yeah.
now.
We
Um,
have even older, but yeah, that's fine. Don't show
Maybe,
it.
yeah. I don't think they're in order, but these are just the basic renders out of ZBrush. Um, and it started very minimal. I mean, this is one of the later ones that we were starting to finally get a feel for. Okay, we're headed in the right direction with one of the character outfits. And again, don't mind the face. This was just a generic placeholder face. Um, and you'll see a lot of back and forth with what I'm going to go forward with, but these are more of the refined images. This is the back. We were trying some different things with stitching. Who knows if they were maybe stitching things together, using thousand-year-old techniques. Who knows?
I remember Albert was spending a lot of time on this, investigating and testing like different stitching of
Yeah,
different things to be
yeah,
asymmetrical.
but we still had to see it in 3D. We
Yeah.
still had to see it in 3D to see if it actually looks aesthetically pleasing. Um, so we went through quite a few iterations of what helmets were going to look like. There was a few different shapes you'll notice as I go forward. Some head wraps we weren't too happy about.
I was happy. I think we liked it, but it was very dangerous to do that.
Uh, yeah, a little bit, yeah, a little bit. So we decided to go pull the head wrap down, something over the shoulders. Eh. But you see, these were some of the older ones right here. This was some of the very first few iterations that we tried, um, which we didn't really take too much away from, to say the least. Um, but yeah, you see, this was just, there's a little bit of back and forth. I don't really know the dates on them, but um,
And this one
you
was
see some of the
summer.
stuff. Yeah, this was when we were getting somewhere with it.
Yeah.
And you'll see, I'll show you guys live right now. Um, Also, we at some point we started to discuss character faces. Obviously, the characters have to have personality, right? We need to figure out who these people are and what we were going to do and how we were going to generate some of the faces and the characters. So we talked about possibly using some prominent Armenian figures and their faces and whatnot, and then we kind of decided maybe not using this. So we came up with the brilliant idea of using our own faces in the game. So and you might have your faces in the game too, so don't be shy. Um, so what we did was we got together. We had a little scanning party. We had about what 8 or 9 people, right? Sona, was there,
11.
or was there
Yeah,
more people that
yeah,
day?
yeah. Yeah, in the end, we had 11 people.
Well, we have no, we have more than that. We have like I think we have
Yeah,
15 or 16 scans now. But like the first day, we had I think
yeah,
eight or
eight
nine
people.
people. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So we had a scanning party. We ordered food, had
Yeah, I
some
think we started
drinks.
as 5 people and then they brought some friends. That's why you end up with 9 people in
hmm
the.
Hey, you want to scan too? Come on in.
Yeah,
It's like, what did I walk into?
yeah.
Yeah, so we started to scan everybody's faces, and I'll show you some of the examples. So let me go ahead and switch screens here. Um, let's stop streaming, back, and let's do this. Okay. So this was one of our friends. You guys see it? Okay. So this was Ruby, one of our. He was also working on the project very, very deeply with us, and so we scanned his face and his wonderful mustache. This is his real life mustache. This is really him.
He was growing
So
it for it.
yeah. I don't know if he was preparing for that day, but definitely was kind of cool. So basically, what we had to do was transfer his facial scan onto a 3D model that's going to work in game in utilizing metahumans in Unreal Engine. So we've done this with, like I said, I think it's about 14 or 15 people so far. And here, I'll go through some of the other scans. This is Grigori. Kind of looks a little scary, bug-eyed, but I mean, this is his face. So that's his real scan, and then we have to transfer it over to in 3D. This is, of course, without detail. All of these are still a work in progress. It's a lot of work. And then this, went a little too far. 1 second. So that guy looks familiar.
Mr.
So
Malian himself.
yeah, this was my facial scan. Basically transferred into 3D as well. Started working on some of the facial details. The realistic hair will come later on. And then this is Aramo, still a work in progress. I don't know why this and his face smiling, but it's okay. It's kind of nice. But currently working on this guy, trying to get him to. We're also using actual face references, like actual images of the individuals, so we can get the exact, I mean, as close to real life possibility in the game. Um, and then some of the other facial scans I'll show you. This is Sargis, our one of our head animator, no?
Yes.
There's Grigori, as I showed you earlier. This is Aram, another friend of ours who's going to be in the game. This is your brother, Henri.
Yep.
Yeah. So this is also another prominent member in the
That's wait,
crew.
but that's Grant who
Hold on.
actually owned the scan, right?
Yes, he's the one who brought over the scanner. Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So that is Rubik, of course, showed you earlier. This was my full scan. Had they because I had longer hair, so we had to put this thing on my head so it doesn't get in the way. And then there's Sona. Doesn't look bad.
Aphrodita.
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the whole thing is we're trying to get the real life personas into the game, and I think it adds a level of authenticity in a sense where we thought it would be really fun, and we're putting our own Armenian likenesses in the game and many others. It's not just going to be us limited to, I think, Henri, maybe you can discuss that on some other stream as to some of the really, really creative ideas we have for even the general public being able to have their faces in the game. But more on that later. So then comes the hard part is creating the character, like I mentioned before. So I'll go back to that. So this guy, this is basically where we are at. This is, I'd say, about a 99% finished product with one of the Azats. If not, maybe the general look of some of the Azats. Currently, I have my face in there, right? But it is going to be interchangeable, just like any game. So here is Aramo's face.
We would need to diversify all the NPCs as ads, so that's why
Oh
we
yeah,
have this,
yeah,
let's say,
absolutely. And they're
15 people.
uh, yeah, and they're not going to look the same. They're going to have different types of armors, different types of cloaks, different types of arm guards. Maybe no arm guards. Maybe all chainmail. Maybe not all chainmail. It's going to depend on their rank. It's going to depend on, I don't know, maybe their upbringing, right? They came from a wealthy family. Maybe they didn't come from a wealthy family. Maybe, I don't know, maybe they were just recruited recently. Who knows? There's so many different backstories to every single character that are still developing. Um, and our wonderful scriptwriters are still developing all of this stuff. But this is where we're at. Unfortunately, maybe next stream we could get the sword and the dagger.
That's okay because it's also a iterative design. It's not
Yeah,
what we're gonna have in the
yeah,
game yet, but we are very
yeah,
close to that point. I think what we should also add to this, when you build something which you only know from a text, obviously we didn't find much of the pieces of armor. We have archaeological findings of the Ani sword, some spears, some little elements, but we don't have like a full image like I don't know Western knight. It was very challenging for us to understand how to build someone who won't look like Arab and who also would not look like a French knight, which, because Armenia is in the middle of two lands and the two cultures, in West and East, it should be unique. And the question which you're gonna have in your head by looking at this design is like, oh, where's this guys? I want to know more. What they are about? What is this culture about? I want to see, to understand, and to learn. So we're still in the process, but I think we are on the right track.
um, some of the as we're also character building, we're also building some of the assets that are going to have obviously interchangeable parts. Here are some examples of maybe their arm guards or greaves or bracers that they're going to be wearing. This is one example. This is another one. Just depends on, again, we're still in the process of figuring out what rank gets what. Um, Another iteration. And here's another iteration of that with the glove on, and also possibly without, maybe just a leather piece without the arm guard or something like this. But there's so many possibilities, as you guys have probably seen with so many different games, where there's interchangeable parts, where one piece can probably have 10, 15, 20 different interchangeable parts. And that's basically our goal with pretty much everything that you would see on any character that you would see. So whether it's from different pieces of armor, less pieces of armor, more pieces of armor, it doesn't make a difference. But we're trying our best to try and keep this as authentic as possible. Because I think all of us definitely have an appreciation for our history or our heritage, and I think that's what our one of our main focal points is. And with that, I think that's all for now from me.
Thank
So I
you.
don't have to talk.
Thank you, Mike.